In this video, I will rank every single structure in Minecraft on a tier list, all the way from desert wells to trial chambers. This is the ultimate Minecraft structure tier list, so subscribe and smash like for a heart in the comments. And now, on to the tier list. This tier list has 5 tiers: amazing, good, average, lacking, and pointless. And I'll start off with a new one, the trial chambers. These structures spawn underground and offer a fun combat challenge that can give you some pretty good loot. They're made of copper and have tons of different rooms to explore depending on how it generates. They have a lot of new items as well as the new mob, the breeze, which can drop the breeze rods which are used to craft the wind charges. The trial chamber rooms have lots of trial spawners which spawn different mobs for you to fight, and once you defeat them, they can give you rewards like armor trims. And if you enter the trial chamber with bad omen, the trial spawner will become ominous and spawn much better mobs to give you even better rewards. So because of the unique challenge the trial chamber offers, I think that they deserve a solid good tier. Ancient cities. This structure is very large and has some of the best loot out of all the structures on this list. Ancient cities spawn in the deep dark and have a chance to contain enchanted golden apples, enchanted diamond tools and armor, and unique armor trims. But be careful because there's skulk shriekers everywhere which can spawn the warden, and the warden can kill you in just a few hits even with the best armor in the game. So you have to be very cautious and sneak your way around so you don't get unalived. But if you can make it out in one piece, the risk is well worth the reward. So overall, I'll give the structure an amazing tier. Moving on to the Bastion remnants. These remnants of bastions can be found in the Nether and offer a lot of good loot if you're brave enough. Bastions have lots of piglins and piglin brutes and are very determined to make sure that you're not there. They guard their gold with their life and they hate it when you open a chest. But if you can manage to weasel your way into different rooms and open a chest, you can get some amazing loot like netherite, enchanted diamond tools and armor, as well as the music disc pigstep. This structure can be very difficult for new and experienced players, but offers some great loot, so I'll put it in the amazing tier. Now for buried treasure. This one isn't much of a structure, but if I don't include it, then half you will unsubscribe, and I need more money so I can't let that happen. Anyways, buried treasure can spawn on beaches near the ocean under a few blocks of sand. The loot can be decent considering how accessible it is. All you need to do is find a shipwreck that contains a buried treasure map and then simply follow the map to the buried treasure. If you successfully dig it up, you can get loot like iron, gold, diamonds, and even the heart of the sea, which can be used to craft a conduit. Buried treasure can be useful, but it's not too helpful past the early game, so I'll give it an average tier. Desert pyramids. These alien built structures seem normal at first glance, but if you mine the center blocks, you'll fall down into a treasure room. This treasure room contains 4 chests that have horse armor, diamonds, and potentially even enchanted golden apples. However, you have to be very careful when you penetrate the hole because there's a pressure plate that has a bunch of TNT below it, so if that blows up, then all of your loot is gone. I think that this structure is pretty useful for the early game and offers some good loot, so I'll give it a solid good tier. The desert well. This is one of my favorite structures in the game. At first glance, it might not seem that exciting, but the desert well can provide you with a source of water in the hot, dry desert, and you can imagine your own theories as to how it got there. It's also pretty rare, so finding one could be a monumental discovery. And as of recent updates, the desert well now has suspicious sand underneath which has the potential to contain rare pottery shards. So because of how useful it is, it's going in the amazing tier. End cities. These were a huge addition back when they came out because they gave players something else to do in the end dimension besides fight the ender dragon. They spawn on the outer end islands and they're made of purple blocks as well as endstone, and they have a lot of shulkers around which are mobs that can make you levitate. And if you defeat them, they drop shulker shells which can be used to craft the shulker boxes. In addition to that, there's also numerous chests scattered around the structure which have lots of diamonds and enchanted tools and armor. But in my opinion, the main reason that people go visit these structures is because of the elytra. You can find the elytra in the floating pirate ship near the end city, and the elytra allows you to fly. So now if you have some firework rockets and a lot of space, you can fly around your world. So I think that end cities deserve an amazing tier. Igloos. These might be mistaken for a small snow hill, but they're actually a small house with a few secrets. They have a bed and a furnace in them, and they sometimes even have a basement. If you break the carpet and head down the ladder, you'll find a zombie villager and some materials to cure it. This allows you to quickly and easily get a villager with discounted prices. However, this structure isn't great because only some of them have the basement, and finding zombie villagers isn't that hard. So in my humble opinion, these structures are going to have to go in the pointless tier. Jungle temples. This temple spawns in the jungle, and the bottom half has puzzles and booby traps for you to explore. And fun fact, this might be a bit nerd emoji, but the jungle temple used to be the only place where you could get the chiseled stone brick block. You could find them behind the levers on the combination lock, which I don't think anyone even bothered to try and solve. Many of us just broke the wall only to find the most mid loot in the entire game. And the tripwire hook on the other side is pretty easy to dodge if you don't have a skill issue. So it's a cool structure and it definitely has some nostalgia. but it's just kinda lacking in the loot department. Lacking tier. Abandoned villages. These are basically normal villages but without the villagers, and everything is covered in cobwebs. All of the villagers are replaced with zombie villagers, and if they step outside during the day, they'll die. There isn't much to really do in the village, and normal villages are a lot better. It can be a good place to get zombie villagers to discount on villager trades, but in my opinion, it's not worth it, and you can just get a zombie to do it to the villagers that you already have for the same discount. So for that reason, I'm gonna have to give this structure a lacking tier. Now for Mineshafts. They spawn underground most of the time and they have some pretty good loot. This structure has a lot of long connected tunnels with the occasional minecart with a chest. These minecarts with chests contain diamonds or even enchanted golden apples. And unlike some others, the mineshaft is actually a lot more common than you think, so it's a good place to get the enchanted golden apples early game. So I would put this structure in the amazing tier if it wasn't for one thing: cave spiders. This structure could contain multiple of these spawners surrounded by way too many cobwebs, and unlike the normal spawners, these ones infect you with poison, which makes your day a whole lot better. Back a few years ago when I used to play Minecraft, these spiders drove me crazy. Crazy? I was crazy once. Good tier. Nether fortresses. As the name implies, these structures spawn in the Nether and they look a lot like an ominous purple fortress. This fortress has a lot of long hallways and the occasional chest containing some okay loot. But the main reason people visit this structure is for three things. First is the blaze rods, which are necessary for beating the game and can be obtained from killing blazes which spawn from blaze spawners or just around the fortress. The second thing is wither skeleton skulls, which can be gathered from wither skeletons. The skulls have a pretty low drop rate, but once you get 3 of them, you can fight the wither, which is one of the best Minecraft bosses. And the third reason players visit this structure is nether wart. The nether wart can be used in all kinds of potion brewing and is very useful. So the nether fortresses are very useful for progressing in the game, but I think that they're just a bit too bland and there's much more exciting structures on this list. So I'm going to give the nether fortress a solid good tier. Ocean monuments. This ocean structure consists of prismarine blocks and has some unique loot. It doesn't have chests or anything, but it has sponges and gold. Sponges can be useful for clearing large areas of water quickly, and they're kind of a cool block to have a lot of. Gold, on the other hand, is pretty common, but ocean monuments have a gold chamber that contains a good amount of gold blocks. And that's all great, but the downside to visiting the ocean monuments is the Elder Guardians. There's 3 of them in every ocean monument, and they aren't super hard to kill, but they give you mining fatigue, which makes it take forever to mine a single block, especially underwater. So this means that you either need to bring TNT or a lot of milk if you want to get anywhere. Despite that, they're still a really cool structure. So they're going in the good tier. Ruined portals. These are incomplete nether portals which spawn in the overworld or in the nether. They usually contain flint and steel and sometimes even have enough obsidian in the chest to complete the nether portal and travel to the nether and back. And very rarely, you can stumble across an enchanted golden apple in the chest, which is always nice to have. But nether portals aren't too hard to make, and usually when you find them, you don't have the resources to complete the portal, so it's not all that helpful. So I'll put them in the average tier. Pillager outposts. These structures typically spawn in wide open spaces near villages and can be one of the most useful structures in the game. They can spawn pillagers as well as pillager captains, and if you kill the pillager captain, you can get the bad omen effect. And if you go near a village with bad omen, you will start a raid. Raids can give you lots of good items like emeralds, totems, and lots of enchantments. And if you're that guy, you could build a raid farm near a pillager outpost and automatically farm this loot. Amazing tier. Villages. This is one of the most common structures in the game and it can be very good for early game players. It has lots of food, some good loot, as well as the blacksmith. The blacksmith usually contains some iron armor, some obsidian, and possibly even some diamonds. In addition to all that, the villagers themselves are a very useful mob. Villagers can be traded with and give you pretty much any enchantment in the game, as well as loot, building materials, armor, tools, and much more. So I'll put villages in the amazing tier. Shipwrecks. As you might have guessed, shipwrecks are these wooden ships that have been broken apart, usually around the surface of an ocean. They can have some iron and coal in its chests, but the main reason why people visit shipwrecks is for the buried treasure map. I talked about buried treasure earlier, so the shipwreck isn't too bad of a structure. Average tier. Strongholds. The stronghold is this underground stone brick fortress that contains many long hallways and rooms. One of these is the library, which has a ton of bookshelves and a few enchanted books. But the room that everyone comes here for is the portal room. The end portal can be lit with Eyes of Ender and lets you travel to the end dimension. The end dimension is where you can fight the Ender Dragon and hopefully beat the game. So the stronghold is a pretty important structure. However, the structure itself isn't that amazing. So I'll give it an average tier. Swamp huts. These spawn rarely in the swamp biome and contain a witch as well as a black cat. Some people like them because they can make their own witch farms, but those farms are kinda slow and very outdated, so swamp huts are pretty much pointless. When people are exploring their world, they don't get excited when they stumble upon a witch hut. Lacking tier. Trail ruins. This recently added structure consists of a broken town buried underground. This structure can have suspicious sand and gravel which can be brushed away to reveal pottery shards and other items. They're supposed to represent some sort of ruins from a past civilization, and they're made from terracotta blocks. Personally, I don't really see the point in the structure, so I'm gonna have to put it in the lacking tier. Ocean Ruins. Ocean Ruins are kinda similar to the Trial Ruins, but it's just one rundown house and it's under the ocean. There can occasionally be some drowns that spawn near them, and they have a chest or two. However, this chest only contains some coal and sand, and that's pretty much all there is to the structure. Pointless tier. Woodland Mansions. These huge wooden houses spawn far away in the roof forest biome and have a lot to offer. They can have up to 3 floors and tons of different unique rooms. These rooms can have a variety of mobs like Vindicators or Evokers. They can occasionally have chests which could contain an enchanted golden apple if you're lucky. They can also be good for resources, and it's one of the best looking structures in Minecraft. Average tier. Thanks for watching, subscribe. I really gotta find a better job.